Happy Cinco de Mayo. I think we may be getting started. I am evidently having a lot of technicalities this morning. I've turned my phone off twice trying to get it in the holder. I didn't want to climb up and down off of the bench. Let's see if I can see what you're seeing. Give me just a moment. I hope everybody's all excited about Cinco de Mayo. The library's got a lot of good things coming up today. If you haven't already, you need to call them and get a kit. Okay, I see that people are giving me some responses. I need to see what channel. Yeah. There I am. There you can see a little bit of it. Okay. Make sure where my hands are. I keep forgetting there's a delay. Okay. Acrylic pours. They're a lot of fun. But this has been one of the most challenging things that I've tried to do. This was my first attempt. You can see it's really shiny and glossy. That's because it was also my first attempt at a resin pour. So, if you've ever tried that, you may not be able to see, but there's some little pitting where some air bubbles got in there. I'm just surprised it's not covered in hair. Very, very pleased that it's not covered in hair. I didn't get all the effects that I wanted, but it's okay. It was a lot of fun. It made me want to try it again. I did this one a long time ago because it takes a long time for this paint to dry. So I also tried one. This was an attempt at a dirty cut pour. I don't know that I got it a little muddy. If you look up close, you can see some different things going on. The paint's messed up here. The paint's messed up here. I was not happy with it and I was a little negligent with it, but now I can see that there's some fine gold veins in there. Also did these two yesterday. This one I'm a little happier with. I did it on top of an old painting and I think it created some buildup. As you can see, this one is very flat. That's what happens to some of the paint when you add some of the materials. This one, you've got a shiny side and then you have the flatter side, the duller side. This is what it looked like when it dried. I did do a finish on this one, not resin, but it makes it a little shinier, makes it a little nicer. I'm probably going to do that to this one. But as you can see, there are some cells going on. It has a more marbled effect, which is not necessarily what I'm going for. So, let's talk about your materials. These are called acrylic pours. You can use any acrylic paint. You want a more pigmented paint, but you can use folk art, you can use deco art, you can use craft paint, you can also use tube paints. You can use it. This is the gold that I tried yesterday. I think all of these, as long as you get the thickness and the viscosity of your paint to work, will do whatever you need them to do as long as you're using acrylic to acrylic. you use a lot of white paint and a lot of black paint in this effect, and so I know there are artists that use just house paint, latex house paint. So, and I'm sorry I cannot read any of the comments. I'll have to address those when we get through. Now, so you have your paint, but what makes this work is that you put an additive into your paint. Now, you can use Liquitex pouring medium. That is a personal choice as to how much you want to invest. Of course, the higher and more archival your components, the longer your art will last. This is what nearly everybody on YouTube uses to make their pouring medium. It is not a pouring medium, it is an additive. It's called Floetrol. So when you look at YouTube videos, they won't necessarily all show you how they mix their paint, but they'll say what medium they're using, and a lot of them will say Floetrol. This is something that you add to paint that gets rid of the lines in your paint. It makes your paint smooth out. That's why it works excellent in this, the way to move this paint. I believe in my previous examples when I've tried it, I think I always have a tendency to make my paint a little thin. I did not add any water to the paint I'm using today because you can add a little water to make your paints thinner, but you don't want to add more than 30% because then your paint starts degrading. So with that being said, these are the two things that you put together, and there are some artists that's all they use. But if you want to create some of those cells that I was talking about, then you have to add a silicone material. Oh, I forgot to add, instead of using Floetrol, you can also use glue. Glue-all works really well, but if you use glue-all, because it's so thick and it has a little white in it already, even though it dries clear, you need to add a little more water. Glue-all, a lot of people use it. They love the cells that they get with it, and it actually dries a little shinier than the others. So that's how you prepare your paint. So I'm not going to show you how I measured. I put, I use a measuring cup. I put marks on a cup. This is my paint. This is a green that I love, this color green. I don't know if you can tell how this is looking, but you can see that it runs off of the stick. It doesn't immediately sink into the paint. It kind of sits on top, but this is probably still a little thinner than you would need for those dirty cups. I am not a big fan of dirty cups. That's not what I'm going to do this morning. So that's my happy green. This is like a combination. This is maybe just a little bit thicker. Then I have some, that's like an island turquoise teal color. Then I have some gold. That's gold. And it's kind of sitting there on top. I have some purple. I have a friend who loves purple, gold, and green, so this is kind of like, I'm trying to hit a combination that might work for her so that we could have some fun with this. And then I have a lot of white. My white is going to be a little bit thicker than the other colors, and there's a reason for that. And then I also have black. So you mix your colors, you get them to the thickness you need. And then to create cells, you need something that's going to pull the elements apart. So when I first tried, everybody was talking about this silicone, 3-in-1 silicone, pure silicone. I've had this for a while. You know, it's something that you use in your garage, in your toolbox. You might have some of that. I've also, the big thing that came around was people started using treadmill oil. There's still a lot of artists that talk about this. But this coconut milk serum is like the bomb, evidently, for creating cells. So that's what I've added to my colors, my pigments. I've not added it to my white. This is, you cannot use coconut milk, coconut oil. This serum right here, the first ingredient is dimethicone. And that is that silicone agent. It also has a lot of other elements in it, but this is supposed to be the bomb. I bought this because I figure, if nothing else, if it doesn't work and I don't want to do this anymore, I'll just put this in my hair. I'm good with that. I love being able to use art supplies that I have to purchase for a one-time thing. So actually, you know, if you wanted a little bit of this, I could probably share if you wanted to. So you just put a few drops of that in, you stir it up, you're good to go. Now, canvases are pretty much the same as the canvas that we use on most of the things. I like these small ones. I actually wish I'd kind of bought some of these, but you can't really show how cells work on these. You can definitely paint on this with these methods. There are a lot of people who do this method on board, on smoother surfaces. This, you know, is a gessoed board. You want to make sure that it's taut, because some of the things that can go wrong is if this is sagging in the middle, then your art, your flex, your composition, it'll distort it when it's drying. So you want to make sure that your canvases are tight. So what you can do to do that is you can spray a little bit of water on the back and you can let it dry, and that will tighten it up in most circumstances. Now, if you look on the back, not that one. Well, if you look on the back of these, you can see they're kind of messy. I don't want you to see whose artwork this is that signed this that I painted over. So what you can do is you can put some painter's tape around your edges, because this is a messy project. Now, I want this to sit up. There's lots of ways you can do that. One of the things you really want to make sure though is that you have a level, and I mean a level pouring surface. I can't find my level, so I can't guarantee that for this, but the last couple of things I tried, they didn't seem to distort too much after I set them to dry, so we were good on that. So I'm going to use these little Dixie cups. These aren't very good for preparing paint because they're paper, and I just kind of start worrying if the paint's just going to fall out of the bottom of them because they sit there a while. So I use these to create a stand for my canvas to sit on. So that's going to sit up there. And you know, the one thing that I didn't put on that I don't have on my desktop is gloves. I usually don't worry about having my hands get all messy, but this is pretty messy. So I am going to put on some gloves. I use a lot of gloves and some caustic stuff I do, so I kind of hate having to use gloves for this, and a lot of artists use gloves that they can wash off. but that's not the kind of gloves that I have. Okay. So what we're gonna do, the first one that I did, I felt like the paint really kind of grabbed hold of the canvas and didn't want to move. I don't like that, so I've been watching videos and they talk about going ahead and flooding and covering your canvas with your white to create a more fluid surface for your paint to flow on. So we are going to put some white. This is that pouring medium. It is the paint with the Floetrol in it. It does not have, well, I could show you. I don't think I put enough on there. Let's put a little more, just so you don't have to watch me struggle. Okay, so we're gonna, you do a lot of this. You wanna make sure that your paint, and see, that is thicker. So I may push it a little. And I'm probably trying to be too careful. I just hate wasting paint, even though you can have your paint dry on your surface. There are artists, they have these really elaborate setups where they have screens, they have pans, they have all kinds of things to capture their paint. And you can tell I have not done this enough. So this is, we should probably call this creative adventures instead of creative moments, because this is an adventure for me this morning, trying to figure out how to get this done in front of you. For some reason, I am just a little nervous. Okay. It's not like my reputation as an artist is on the line, because we all know I am just an artist who just loves to get in and play. Whatever my results are, I'm generally happy. These are experimental boards for me so that I can figure out. I probably should have put a lot more paint on here. So we're gonna, oops. So see, you use a lot more paint than you think you're going to use. And I haven't even really started dripping off of it. Yep, see there, I'm starting to do some dripping. And I'm sorry you can't see everything that I'm doing. So let's put it over a little bit more so that you can see it. So we'll just kind of smooth that out. Make sure we got paint on our sides. That doesn't really have it. Okay. Now, when you go on YouTube, there's like, and you put acrylic pour in there, it'll say acrylic pour, Dutch flow, acrylic pour, swipe, acrylic pour, dirty drop. That has some beautiful results, but I'm not very good at it yet. So, not that I'm very good at any of this. Now, right now, everybody is using a torch with this method. You don't have to use a torch. You can use a straw. See, you can't really see, but there's little bubbles. And I'm not trying to bust those bubbles. There's a hair. There's always going to be hair in my work, and my gloves are too big. Okay, I just might have to deal with that. When you mix your paint together, you get air bubbles in it sometimes. If I had tweezers, I could pick those out, but we're just going to deal with them. Now, oops. You can also take your torch, a little torch. I've got a bigger torch, but I don't really like working in the house with it. You can do like this. If you got any bubbles, it'll bring the bubbles up and pop them. And it can also grab your gloves. Now, you know what, I'm going to show you how to pour into a cup. So, should have done that before I started that. Your white is your heaviest and your densest, whatever you put in your cup last. First, whatever you put in your cup first is what pours out on your, see, I just go way too fast. You want to pour it down the side, like that. Now we're going to try this. Now we're going to pour some purple, and it's just excruciatingly slow. You want to pour that purple in there because you want your purple to sit on top of your white. You don't want it to mix in your cup. I'm going to put some gold. And you can see my hand shaking. I am a fast down and dirty type of artist, so having to be a little bit more meticulous is just painful. So we're just going to layer these in here, and as you can see, they're kind of laying beside each other in the cup. They're not really mixing, they're staying separate. Now you could, I hope that you can see how they're just in the cup, lined up so beautifully. Oh, I don't know if y'all can see anything. Oh, maybe you can. Okay, so there you have it. Now I can still do a dirty pour with this, and maybe, but I don't have a big enough spatula, so we're just going to do a pour. But that, if you were doing a dirty pour, well, you know what? I think I'm still going to demo that for you, but it's just going to be different. You would put your canvas down like that, and this doesn't have anything on it, so that, and then you tip it over. Can't really do that with this because I already have that flooded with the white. If I had the right tool, you can flip it over onto there, and then you kind of pull that out. I may still have a go at this. Are we adventurous today for Cinco de Mayo? I say I'm gonna give it a shot. I turned it over. This is a dirty pour because you don't know what's happening in there. Now I'm gonna wait and let the paint that's in the cup sink to the canvas, because you know it's kind of all got to run down into that area. So boring part of art, waiting for things to happen, for the chemistry, for the magic. Let's see. Is everything ready? Okay. Kind of looks like the paint is maybe falling down. Okay. Let's see what magic happened underneath this cut. Well, that gold just really liked being the star of that show. This may actually turn out better than I had anticipated. Now, when I talk about cells, that's these things right here, where you can see where the paint is not mixing together. It's wanting to be separated by that silicone that was added to the paint. I don't know if I didn't have enough of that happy green in there, because that's kind of hiding underneath there. Now, once again, I'm going to hit it just momentarily with my torch. You don't have to do this. I'm just trying to get some bubbles out. I still got some hairs in there, but I don't have my tweezers to pull those out. So nearly every piece of artwork that I've created has a little bit of hair in it. Okay, so now what you can do is you could say, oh, I really like that, but I know I already don't like it because I got a piece of something. Now I could try to get that out if I wanted that to just stay, that composition, that focal part. But what's the fun in that? I got way too much gold right here. So now, very slowly, very gently, I'm going to try to move stuff around. And that gold just wants to be a big blob of gold. It does not want to break up. And then I'll bring it back to center. Let's go the other direction. See what happens. And so you can just move your paint around on your canvas. Like I said, that blue and green is hidden in there. I'm going to start losing some of that white paint that I flooded it with. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to use that gold in anything else. For some reason, that just doesn't want to work with my materials. It's either too thick or too thin. Oh, see, I was watching this and I forgot all about that. Look at that. That's some pretty awesome stuff going on over there. On this side where that green is, and you got those big cells. Okay, I'm going to try and see if the torch will make some cells pop in this gold. Now you have to be careful when using torches. It is flame. I wish I was using my big flame instead of this little thing. I watch these videos and man, those cells just start popping. Not so much in this gold. I'm going to keep moving it around. This, like I said, over here, man, that is some gorgeous stuff. I am just not liking the gold. Okay, I thought maybe we'd get some of those cells to pop up through there and show some of that other color, because that green and that other paint should be in there somewhere. Yeah, it doesn't want to work. Okay, so you move it around until you feel like you get the composition that you want. You can leave negative space. There are people who stretch it out till the whole shebang is done. I don't want to take up all your time with this morning, but you can see how layering your paint and then pouring it in there creates some of these effects. I'm going to put this over here on my drawing rack out of your line of vision. I hope I don't get any of that on the floor. I'm really trying to be neat. Okay. So now we're going to do something else that I want to do. I'm not sure. Well, you know what? I don't have time to start another board. So we're going to bring this one back because I want to show you one more thing that you can do that is so friggin' cool. Okay. If you don't like something, take a straw, blow it. Yeah, that gold doesn't want to move at all. Okay. See how that kind of sprays that out a little bit? Now it's happening. This kind of plays into what's called a Dutch pour when you start moving the paint. See, I'm trying to get rid of some of that gold. It's not too horrible. I don't like that right there. Let's see if I can get that off. Okay, so I'm gonna leave it here with y'all this morning. I may continue to play a little bit, try to use these colors. The gold is gonna be really pretty on here when it dries. As you can see, I've got a more fossilized cell look down here. I've got a more lacy, ethereal look going up here. It's probably not gonna be a horrible piece. Anyway, I hope you try these materials. They're a lot of fun. It's just nerve-wracking trying to do it in front of people. So, with that being said, please come back to the Facebook Live at 11 o'clock when we have a special bilingual story time with Don Miller. We're going to kick off our Cinco de Mayo. Thank you for being a patron of the library. We love y'all. We miss y'all. I hope that you go out and you try something new, try something that you're a little scared of, and be a creative. Love y'all. Till next time.